Hi guys, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. First of all, let me just start by saying I'm so thankful for everybody who has subscribed to this channel. I know there's been a number of new subscribers recently, and I super appreciate it. It really means a lot to me because I'm just wanting to share my experiences, share my story, and hope that maybe it'll help somebody else. So it makes me happy to know that there are other people out there that are tuning in, and if it's not helping you guys directly, then maybe it's helping somebody you know. So thank you for that. So yeah, okay. So I'm sorry, mumbling a bit here. I'm Megan, the faithful fibromyalgia warrior, and I'm coming to you live, well, recording live from my backyard. So I'm actually in a little section of my back garden, which is a nice sun trap. So when the sun comes out, it's like the perfect place where I can sit out and enjoy the sun. The sun's actually just behind a cloud right now, but it is actually quite nice out. And because it's so nice out, um, I know that within about 20 minutes, my hair will dry all by itself. So I try not to use the hair dryer. Anyways, that's why I look like I do with wet hair. That being said, realizing that in fact, that's not really all that important. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I was trying to think about what I might talk about or what I might call this particular video, and I think for me, the perfect title would be Why, oh, why did I eat that? So I'll have to give you guys a bit of a backstory. So Friday evening, my husband and I were invited over to spend some time with some new friends of ours at their place. And since they helped provide a bunch of food the last time we were there, we offered to supply the pizzas. Friday night, usually it's pizza night and movie night. And so we did. Ended up ordering more boxes of pizza than what we actually needed. But, you know, they have, let me think here, they have 3 kids living at home with them right now, and an older son the fourth, who comes by and visits for dinner sometimes. So we figured better to plan for more and have leftovers than have not enough. So 6 boxes of pizza. Let me just state for the record, no, I did not eat any regular pizza. Okay, I was not that foolish. Um, but we ended up getting a gluten-free based pizza that I could have and that I shared with others. I did not eat the whole thing then either. Medium pizza. I did have um, 3, no, maybe 4 slices, extra thin crust. I say all this to justify it. I realize this now. But my thinking was this, okay? I didn't want to have to make what I usually eat, which is frying up some super fatty ground beef. I get 25% fat ground beef. Okay, that's what I seem to do the best with. I feel good about. It feels most satisfying and satiating, and I love it. So I usually fry that up and throw in 2 egg yolks and 3 pieces of extra crispy bacon, and I'll sort of sprinkle it on top. I don't know why I'm making hand gestures for you guys. I'm sure you can picture sprinkling without me going, ooh. But anyways, it's there. It's staying in the video. So I didn't want to have to cook that at home and bring it, although I probably should have. In fact, no, I definitely should have. I wanted to fit in. I didn't want to have to sort of single myself out as eating differently. I wanted to join in with everybody else, even if it was with a gluten-free crust. Because in my thinking, it's like, well, there's no gluten. So it's been a year. Hopefully I'll be all right. Yeah. And I brought my digestive enzyme pills with me, so I thought, worst comes to worst, this will help. Um, and it might have, but I didn't stop there, unfortunately. So, anyways, we brought the pizzas. Everybody had lots to eat. We had a great time. My friend and I, she and I went into their front room and put on a Disney movie. Um, and then the guys, the men, had a vinyl music listening party, which was fine. We enjoyed ourselves, and then around, I don't know, around 10:30 or so, we called it a night, said our goodbyes, and came home. Now, I haven't had any carbs really in about a year, and I did that because I realized I can't process carbs. Even gluten-free carbs, I cannot do. And so when I had my 3 or 4 small, thin slices, justified slices of my pizza, which I had pepperoni, chicken, and bacon on, with vegan cheese and barbecue sauce, not tomato, because I can't handle tomato. I thought, I'll be okay. I'll just have 2 slices. It'll be good. But of course, carbs are not very satiating. So I wasn't full at 2 slices, which is why I ended up having 4 thin slices. And although it didn't affect me right away, because I took my digestive enzyme pills, I was still really hungry. Now, my friend's fiance makes a really great cup of coffee, and he knows he makes it with froth milk for all of us. It was awesome. So I thought, great, bit of caffeine, bit of frothed up milk, I should be fine. Still hungry. And what I didn't realize was that on Fridays, she and her fiance get sweets, and the kids can have a few sweets to choose from if usually it's a movie night. And so I had a pack, like not a giant, I'm not talking like the giant Twizzler bags, but like a smaller pack of licorice shoelaces. And I'm a glutton for licorice. I binged on it when I was pregnant with my younger son. So I love me some licorice. And this was like strawberry flavored. And it was teeny tiny, like spaghetti thin strips. So I'm thinking, oh, well, it's like super thin licorice. Therefore, I can have more of it. Right? Already, you can see where my head has gone completely mentally off the deep end a little bit there. Yeah, so I ate this pack of licorice shoelaces. And I had a few more handfuls of licorice gummies, Haribos, for those of us who live here in England. And once I had done that, within 15 minutes, I felt my joints starting to swell up. I felt the inflammation start to go way up. And I had to keep talking to myself, wondering, why did I eat this? Why? Why? I know better. And I guess the reason why I wanted to share this with you guys is, look, I get it. We will easily make mistakes. We will potentially even mess up if we're trying to eat a ketogenic diet. And I'm not here saying don't ever eat that stuff. It's not for me to tell you what to eat or not to eat, right? That's not what I'm trying to do. I shouldn't have had it, but I did, because I didn't plan ahead. I didn't prepare myself. They are so accommodating, our friends, that if I had just pre-cooked what I wanted to eat, put it in a container, and brought it there and just said, hey, would you mind if this goes in the microwave for a minute? Not ideal, I know, but it would have been far better than eating the carb pizza. Like, the carb count in one slice, I think, was easily probably 10 grams per slice. Now, for somebody who has been meat-based ketogenic for a year, right? And when I say meat-based, I mean I might have the occasional bite of cooked carrot whilst I'm making food for everyone else. But generally speaking, I don't eat vegetables. I stay away from fruit because I cannot process them with my irritable bowel syndrome and the fibromyalgia inflammation and the Raynaud's, which gets triggered by the fibro, as well as underactive thyroid and a slowed metabolism. These are things I've learned I have to just take out of my diet. So I asked myself, why did I? Because I missed the taste and I hadn't prepared myself, right? It's kind of like when we fall into those temptations or sins that, we know we need to stay away from, and yet we find ourselves sometimes falling into again and again, whether it is addictions, whether it is something like lying or holding grudges or holding on to anger or not forgiving each other, whatever it is, right? We all have our sins. We all have our challenges. Everyone does, right? Everyone does. And we work hard to try to not be that way, especially if we're disciples. If we are disciples of Jesus, if we are trying to live as Christians, obviously we're trying to not live and fall into sin. But of course, we're not perfect. And that doesn't necessarily make for a good answer as far as why in the world would I eat this, would I know what it's going to do to me, because I'm not perfect and because I didn't prepare myself in advance, right? I'm not trying to make this whole, let's tie it together and make a lesson out of it, but in a sense it is, right? But what was hardest for me was to move past that. I'm not talking even from my eating disorder or disordered eating recovery point of view, because to be honest, the pizza itself, for people who can tolerate a bit of carb, was very ketogenic. Like I said, gluten-free pizza base, barbecue sauce, and then lots of different meats with vegan cheese, which isn't ideal, but I know I can't tolerate dairy, so it was okay, right? But it would have been keto. I don't know if it would have been keto approved or maybe just keto friendly. So from that point of view, that wasn't an issue. So I didn't feel bad about that, but I just felt bad. I felt sick. I felt nauseous. My joints were really sore and achy. And I was just wishing, make it stop right away. Just make it go away. And isn't that the case, right? When we've messed up, or we know we've done wrong, or we've fallen into old habits, or we've sinned, we want it to just go away instantly. And as much as we can stop and be forgiven instantly, and we need to forgive ourselves, the results take a bit longer. So still dealing with a bit of a low-lying headache, still feeling inflammation in my wrists and a bit in my ankles and knees, but at least my guts have settled a bit. So when we mess up, I say that because we're not going to do everything perfectly. We are going to at times mess up or find out and eat something that we thought would be okay. Turns out we don't do well with, right? Trial and error sometimes. That's okay. That is absolutely okay. And life, right? And I'm just trying to say that, you know what? It happens. Kind of like, okay, fibromyalgia pain. We have days, those of us who have fibro, have days where we feel relatively good. And that's when we suddenly decide, oh, well, today I'm going to do laundry and I'm going to wipe down the kitchen counters and I'm going to try to vacuum or hoover, as my fellow Brits would say here. We try to do all the things that pain keeps us from on a day we feel better, even though we know We really shouldn't. And even though we know we're probably going to feel pain because of it, and that whole day we might be in like like an exercise high, and we don't really feel the pain too badly till we stop that night, and then it just wallops us and rebound pain hits, and then we're out of commission for the next 3 or 4 days. And yet we find ourselves doing the exact same thing over and over again. Why? Because that's how we are. We want to be good, and yet we want to be able to do stuff for ourselves. I think that's pretty natural. And so the same goes with eating. If you choose to eat on a ketogenic plan, whether you are full carnivore like I am, whether you are heavy on the meats but with some vegetables thrown in and dairy if you can tolerate it, there are times where we are tempted, especially if we have only just been starting, or if you've been at it for almost a year and you think, I could try maybe a gluten-free brownie or a caramel slice. Well, those are bad examples because they're still full of sugar. And whether you eat keto or not, you should avoid sugar if you have arthritis like I do, and fibromyalgia like I do, and chronic pain, because sugar is known to cause inflammation. So those delicious treats, even if it's your birthday or your spouse's birthday or your child's birthday, basically anyone's birthday is a good excuse to have it. And it's going to be hard to say no. Now, you might decide, you know what, I can handle a bit. If you don't have these other health issues, and maybe you're just doing ketogenic protocol to lose weight, then that's your call. I would urge you, please, try not to do it if you are doing it like me, where your biggest concern is pain and inflammation, because it never ends well. But if you do eat something that either A, you did not know was going to cause a problem, or B, you thought it probably would, but you hoped it might not this time, and now you're feeling the effects, do not beat yourself up, okay? Just like when we sin, and look, as Christians, we will sin every single day because we are not perfect. One person was perfect. That was Jesus. That is not me. And I hate to break it to you guys, that's not any of you, okay? And that's okay. But because of him, we do have forgiveness. So, forgive yourself. And as soon as you can, get back on that protocol, Once you've eaten that bit of dessert or that bit of baked potato or whatever it is you've eaten that has caused you some pain and inflammation, forgive yourself and do whatever you can to get back on track. Not because, you need to feel guilty or bad, but because the aches and pains will go away quicker the quicker you get back to eating the ketogenic protocol. If that's the plan you're on, if you're not eating that way and you feel that you don't need to eat that way, then don't worry about it. You might be somebody who, for me, for a long time, was dealing with, well, I'm a horrible person. I must not love God because I've just eaten, right? I've eaten food. And you're coming from a point of either an eating disorder or disordered eating, where any food you eat, whether it nourishes you or not, is seen as bad. Please hear me when I say this. It is not. God gave us food to eat, to give us strength, to nourish us, to help us have life. Please don't feel bad for eating. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to eat, okay? I get that. And me saying it's okay to eat doesn't mean suddenly you're going to want to eat, because you won't. I can't make you. But I hope you'll hear me when I say that you are not a terrible person if you ate even if you didn't eat anything good or healthy. Okay. And again, if you live with an eating disorder, disordered eating, or food addictions, it's okay. So do I. I happen to have found recovery, and I approach it every day, one day, every day at a time, and there is hope for recovery out there. But please don't feel guilty because you got hungry and you needed to eat. That's you loving the body that God gave you enough to put something in it to try to fuel it and nourish it, right? But again, I can only say that with the hope that at some point, someday, if you're not yet in recovery or ready for recovery, that you will be. And it will be there for you without judgment, without judgment. So why did I eat this stuff that I knew was going to hurt? More than anything, not even so much, like I said, the pizza itself was very keto, okay? So if I didn't have issues with carbs and sugars being processed, with the fact that I can't digest them, if those were not factors, I would have been fine. They were an issue only because I cannot process carbs or any sugars of any kind. And any sort of, that being in sauces and syrups and juices and drinks and everything else, right? So even though it was gluten-free, I knew it might cause me issues because I cannot tolerate carbs, full stop. Processed or otherwise, I cannot eat them because I cannot handle them. My body cannot digest them properly. So there we are, okay? So that's why I shouldn't have eaten it. Not because it was bad, because I can't handle them. I just can't, okay? So for me, although I'm still feeling kind of blech, like icky and sort of it's getting better. Why? Because yesterday, when I was ready to eat again around 1 o'clock, I fried up my fatty ground beef, mixed in a couple of egg yolks, and sprinkled my extra crispy, practically charcoal bacon pieces on top. And that's what I ate. And I was satiated. So I was getting this healthy saturated fats and proteins in my body as quickly as possible. I probably will not feel recovered from the sugar infusion probably for another 24 hours, okay? Because I've been eating very keto for the past year. When I slip up, this isn't the first time, okay? I have had other times where I've tried to eat carbs or something with something sugary in it, and it did not end well. Same results as this time. When that has happened, when it first happened, when I was first trying to start out, it took me almost 2 weeks to get back on track because I wasn't fat adapted yet. Okay, I am now, so usually it only takes me 48 to 72 hours. And here's me saying, and I plan to stick with it and not veer off again. But the one thing I have learned is I got to be prepared. And so if I come in with my food in a container to my friends and say, hey, actually, I have what I eat. Do you mind if I just heat it in the microwave? And she would be fine with that. She'll be okay with it. She won't be upset. She won't be offended. She'll be fine with it because she knows I eat differently, right? And that's the thing, is we have to not be ashamed or embarrassed to say, yeah, you know what? I've had to eliminate all this other stuff. So this is kind of what I eat now. I bring my own food. Don't go out of your way, but I want to come see you for friendship, fellowship, maybe a coffee, right? And that's sort of what I've learned from this is I'm not going to be embarrassed. I eat the way I eat. My family knows I eat. They'll eat salad still and veggies and whatever. I don't. And that's fine. I can't eat spicy food. I'll make them something awesome and spicy that they'll love, and I make my meal. And that's okay. right? Kind of like for the longest time, I didn't want to say publicly that I'm a Christian. I don't want to lose subscribers or people who might support me. But you know what? I am, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. So I will sometimes talk about where I'm at with my faith, what I've learned, what I've heard or witnessed or listened to or whatever. And I'm not ashamed. Anybody who's subscribing who didn't know that about me yet, if you then decide to unsubscribe, that's fine. I understand. Not everybody wants to hear me talk about how I love God, and that's okay. But I'm not going to stop talking about the fact that I'm a disciple. So I'm prepared now, right? Sort of like when we know we might be facing challenges or we might be tempted by sins, if we go prepared, don't we? We often will spend time in the morning, we'll pray, we'll read the scriptures. Why? So we can be strengthened in our faith. So when we go out into the world and we're around people who aren't Christians, we can be prepared. We're not tempted. We fight to not fall into sin. So if I'm going to do that with my faith, I should at least do that. Be prepared with how I eat and how I want to take care of myself health-wise. That's my way of thinking anyways. They go together. Like I've said in other videos. Yes, I learned to eat in a way that's healthy for me. I started to follow the ketogenic diet before I restored my relationship with God. But I need both now to maintain it, to stay in recovery, to stay faithful as a disciple and stay faithful to the way I've decided to eat, the way I've decided to look after my own health and my body. Because after all, this body is the one that God gave me, and I want to take care of it. So that's what I'm planning to do. Guys, I'm trying to, sorry, I had a brain fog moment there, brain fart, if you will. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, this video, I hope it's encouraging. Thank you for watching it all the way to the end. It's a longer one this time. So if I've rambled a bit, well, so it goes, right? But thank you guys so much for checking in, checking out my channel. Please, if you've liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Thumbs up. There we go. And if you haven't subscribed, it would be great if you did. It's always great to have more and more people come and, join the group, and we can support each other that way. So thank you so much, guys, for all of this, for being a part of my channel and supporting me. I really appreciate it. Feel free to share my videos with anybody you think it might help, that it could encourage. Go right ahead. I always appreciate that. And otherwise, thank you guys. This is me again, recording live from my backyard, and I'm going to check out now, but I will see you guys in the next video. So thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me, listening to my somewhat rambling video. I appreciate it, as always. And I'll check out, sorry, I won't check out. What am I saying? Blah, blah, blah. I hope you guys check out the next video, which will hopefully be coming soon in the next couple days. Thanks for your support again, as always. This is Megan, the faithful fibromyalgia warrior, saying thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.